Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm pumped to be joined today by Christina Henck. We have chatted before, Christina, and we've also been working together on a couple different 3D tour projects that will, next time we chat, will be fun to kind of walk through and actually talk about some of your designs that we can look at while we're chatting. But today we wanted to just chat about basically our, year coming up in 2022. We're already almost at the end of Q1, so we should kind of have our feet underneath us for what this year is going to look like for sure. But anyways, thanks again for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah, definitely. We actually here in Texas, I don't know if you heard, but a couple of days ago we had some crazy weather, some tornado warnings and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So like literally 48 hours ago, my wife and I were hunkering down in tornado weather, and
Oh my
now it's like you would never guess that that could happen here. So blessed to be here on a Wednesday morning, I guess.
Yeah, happy to be here. Every day is a blessing. What can I say?
That's right. So really quickly, for maybe someone that didn't see our first conversation, do you want to give a brief background, just kind of Hink Design and who you are?
Sure. So this year will be Henck Design's 10-year anniversary. I'm Christina Henck. I'm the owner, founder, creator. I'm currently operating as the CEO and creative director for the company. And then I've got a staff of designers and an operations department, and I'm kind of building out some project management roles for my company. We are located in Philadelphia. We'll be moving to, it's like still Philadelphia proper, but it's a little bit removed from like the center city downtown area in a place called Manayunk. I'm about to open a big, beautiful 3,200 square foot space with a showroom. And that's like the really exciting thing that we have coming up. So we're in like a little bit of transition, but we are rocking and rolling. We've doubled our business every year for the last 3 years. So the company's trajectory is really, really good. And I think some interior designers kind of get in and maintain a smaller business model. And I really, am interested to scale and keep growing and take the company national. We've got a couple of our first national clients recently. So, I feel more like a business owner than a designer now more than ever. I always, of course, design is my foundation, but I think these days I'm a business owner first, and I'm proud to say that.
So how do you feel about that trend? I'm sure you got into design because of a love for design. How do you feel about that transition, to actually most of your time is running a business now? Are you kind of sad to let go more of that design time, or are you more
Yeah.
excited about, the
It's
growth of the business?
bittersweet for sure. It's hard to let go of the design, but I think it's healthy to let go and trust and build a team. And we talked about leadership a little bit on our last call. And I think creatives are great for leadership roles because leadership is naturally a right-brained trait, or, it's definitely a learned space, right? You have to read a lot of books, and, they don't teach you leadership, as it were, often in most, curriculums. So that's been really interesting for me to focus on, learning how to be a leader and reading a lot of not just entrepreneurial books or business books, but leadership books specifically. So yeah, I mean, letting go of the design is hard. I'm still very involved with the design. I'm just at like a different level where, we've created like a really strong process that's step by step so that the designers have they have a 100% clarity on like step by step what needs to happen and like what steps I need to be involved with, so that we schedule these check-ins, and it's almost like a checklist, because our projects are 6 months to a year long, especially now that supply chain has slowed down, so there's a little bit of just more time that goes by for the process. Before COVID, we were finishing projects in more like a 4 to 6 month long timeline. But yeah, I'm still very much a designer in my bones, but I also think it's important for my personal and professional growth to, really embody being a CEO and being a great leader in order for the company to grow.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And before we hopped on here, we were chatting a little bit about being a leader. And I think there's like there is a little bit of a naturalness to leadership. I think that's why, people were attracted to come work for you, or why you were able to even get clients, like people tend to kind of naturally look to people that have natural leadership skills. But then it's like, once you actually are in that position, it kind of, unless you've been there and had like kind of everyone's eyes looking at you, like waiting for directions on what to do and everything's resting on your shoulders, it's hard to like empathize or realize how how daunting and kind of how difficult it actually is to lead a group of people and to accomplish things as a business.
Yeah, I mean, jokingly, like they say more money, more problems, but like the bigger the team, like the most difficult thing in business is personnel and talent management and offering constructive criticism and feedback when it's not always well received. I mean, there's so many challenges as it relates to just managing staff alone. And also, like, my goal as a leader is to create other leaders. So, really coaching people, even coaching people on how to be coached is a thing, and being a young leader, I think sets me apart. I think sometimes people underestimate me because they think I'm young. I'm 35 now, so it's less of an issue now. But there was a time when I was 25 hiring people in their 30s, and that was really difficult. And I maintained that I was qualified then, to be the owner of my company. And you can see that we have not failed. So, but yeah, it's challenging to be a leader at any level, whether you're managing 2 to 3 people, 10 people, 25 people, small, medium, or large size businesses,
Definitely. Well, you talked about a big, exciting project that you're working on, moving to a new showroom, a new studio. That's super cool. What are some other projects in 2022 for the rest of the year that you guys are working on and excited about?
My husband said he always kind of doesn't roll his eyes because he's the same way and he's involved, but he's like, Christina loves a good project. Like, we love a good project, Carson. There's always, it's like as if my, business wasn't based around project oversight, and project management. But yeah, there's always like, I just finished a kitchen renovation in my house. We're doing a new build for the office. It's build to suit. So all those selections and floor plans and everything have to be worked out. So yeah, I mean, it's like, it's never ending and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love transformation and I love growth and I love, like you said, being a leader and sort of having somewhere to go and like being clear on what that looks like and, solving the problem of executing it.
Yeah. This showroom in this new move that you guys are working on is having a showroom. I actually haven't been to your current offices in Philadelphia, but is kind of having a bigger showroom and more square footage. Is this going to be new for you guys? And do you currently sell things through a showroom right now? Or talk to me more about this showroom.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. So if you Google Henck Design, it's Henck Design. Just type that into Google. And if you click on where it says our photos on our Google listing and you scroll down, I think it's like 7th or 8th right now on our Google listing. But you can see we actually have a Google 360 tour.
Cool.
So you can actually tour the showroom. I did that when we first moved in 2 years ago. And yeah, I feel like Open House should totally come out and do the new showroom so we can do a tour. We have 1,000 square foot space right now, so it's about the third of the size of what we'll have should be July 1. The showroom allows us to have the best accounts with our furniture, rug, and lighting vendors because we're able to have vignettes and we're able to pass on that savings to the client. So it's a win-win-win, right? It's a win for the vendor, it's a win for Henck Design, and it's a win for Henck Design interior design clients. Also, it gives us an ability to have a retail store. I opened our current showroom like April 2020. I signed the lease January 2020. So, with COVID, it was like big plans. And then it was like, what did I call it? It was a virtual grand opening. It was like I had a grand opening with me and like two members, like live on Instagram, and like no one could come. And I sent out, but I did like make all these gift boxes and send them to my favorite people and colleagues and friends around Philadelphia with like a little champagne bottle with a Henck Design logo on it. And everybody sent me a picture cheersing. So, we made a video out of that and we put that in our newsletter. We said grand opening, and, we do have the e-commerce website. So, we were able to still have it, but it was definitely a challenge. So this time we're going to have a real grand opening party. Hopefully,
God willing,
get in the way, fingers crossed. And, yeah, so we'll have a beautiful showroom with some big, beautiful branding. The office space is going to allow for 4 closed offices and, excuse me, a conference room with a wide open designer area with a big material library, and then plenty of storage for inventory. So, yeah, we're super excited. There's going to be a lot to see. Of course, it'll be designed to the max, and I hope to be there for 10 years.
Very cool. That's awesome. I can't wait to see some of the vignettes you guys set up in there. And anyways, I love a good showroom. What
I love a good 360 tour of a showroom. It's so awesome to be able to, especially like, during a pandemic or really for any reason, it's a great opportunity to be able to send somebody a link and say, hey, you want to see what we do? Even when candidates apply for job postings, and they ask me what our space looks like, and I can just send them that link. So I think what you guys do is really great too, and is very informational. Yeah.
Well, I think it'll be a good timing too, because we're working hard on some e-commerce integrations. So with y'all's e-commerce store, and we're also working on doing some live video components. So like you can start up a one-on-one video call inside of your virtual tour, or you can host like live stream events with multiple people. Anyways, cool. There'll be some awesome stuff that we can do together when this new showroom is unveiled. So that'll be fun.
So awesome. I love that. You've got great ideas.
So when it comes to 2022, what would you say, by the end of this year, where do you want Henck Design to be? Like, where you're at now versus December 31st, 2022, what are your goals and visions for the rest of the year?
Yeah, it's all about the team. It's like companies are just like, for me, company culture is so important. We've got 3 KPIs that are company wide. Of course, each individual has their own KPIs based on their department and their roles and responsibilities. But for the company, it's revenue, profit margin, and company culture. Company culture, I think in the earlier years can be really hard to establish. To be honest, like my first 8 years with the company, I had 4 people, including myself, on staff or less. So now having 6, 7, 8, 10 people on staff is quite a challenge. Not because, I don't know, I guess just because like we were saying before, like being a leader is hard. There's, just personalities and, I think for me, creating a beautiful space to like set up, like I always say, it's all about the setup. So, the more I can set up the process and the business, which is really what I've been focused on for the last 2 years. Like I really spent like the first 6 or 8 years, like developing my skills and being the best senior level designer that I can be. And now that I'm there, like I said at the beginning of the call, I'm really focused on being a leader, being a CEO, being the creative director, but kind of working on the business rather than in the business. And I think, by the end of the year, we'll be in a really great place where the designers who are junior right now will have a lot more experience. They'll be growing in their careers. I really want to see everyone kind of rise through the ranks. And I think rising tides lift all boats, right? And, whenever the company does well, the staff does well. Whenever the staff does well, the company does, and it goes hand in hand. So for me, it's all about the team. It's all about the people. And it's all about like establishing a fun, healthy workplace where people also have like a strong work ethic,
Yeah, definitely. And I think like when you start a business, you obviously have your grand vision of what it's going to look like. And you have like, these are our core principles as a business that like, when I'm starting this, I want to stick to. I think like in those early years, especially, as much as you want to like really enforce that culture and stick to those principles, and you do, but I think people underestimate from like the business owner perspective or the CEO's perspective, how like so much of your attention is actually just on like, how do we survive and actually create a business that like doesn't fail, because a huge percentage of new businesses fail. And so I think company culture and all that is so, so important. But also I think like in the early days of a business, especially as you start to kind of grow and find your product market fit, if you will, so much of your attention just has to be on like our company culture is we're like building a business that will survive and even be a business. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, look, when people come on board to work at small companies, they have to come in knowing that they have to learn and help build it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all already worked out. I think just after 10 years, I finally feel like I've got it like 95% worked out. I'm just focused on the talent. I'm focused on the product. I'm focused on the client, the business development. But like our market is worked out, our department manuals are worked out, our processes and procedures are worked out, our employee handbook. I mean, that stuff took me years. Granted, I didn't come from a business background, so somebody with an MBA may work that up first. I did the design work and built the brand and did the marketing and did like the sexy designer creative stuff first. That's what the foundation and the core of the company was built on. So now just in the last few years, it's like, okay, I got to get really serious about operations, and I think that's normal for designers. And I think that's a challenge for us because in design school, they don't tell you how to write a business plan, because it's sort of assumed that you'll work for a firm, and that never really was a fit for me. So, but I never really understood that I had an entrepreneurial spirit and that I wasn't willing to, settle until I wasn't willing to settle. And then I picked myself up by my bootstraps and I figured it all out. But, I didn't figure it out in like the normal traditional order that somebody with an MBA would.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I've just been thinking about this stuff so much recently, but we're on the same page. I just think,
yeah, well, you're a leader in your space, aren't you?
Yeah, I just think when you're getting started, you just have to, those first several years, it's like those on board, like really the culture is we're building something that we want to survive so that we actually have jobs in this business. And then we all have an opportunity to kind of shape that culture as we go, but we'll still stick to those like guiding principles like you mentioned.
Absolutely. And, like in this age where working from home is, becoming fundamental to people's process and their day-to-day sort of hybrid scheduled lives, figuring that out in conjunction with, working with people in an office setting, I think it's really an interesting time. And, technology never ceases to amaze me. And it frees us up, but it also challenges us in new ways, and we're constantly sort of pivoting and working around it and integrating new tools. And, I think you could definitely shed a lot of light on that. So, owning a business is multifaceted. It's challenging in many different ways. And you have to be up for the challenge, and you have to get up every day and just go, today's a new day and I'm going to kick ass and take names.
Yeah, totally. And I think next time I'd love to talk more about that, because I think you're going to really, as you guys try to expand nationally, I know you said you have some projects going nationally already, and as you expand that, I think just all these things are going to be even more important, and we can dive into more. I'd love to hear kind of your insight into how you've managed that growth.
It's all about self-education and professional development and personal development. You know, like I've read so many books, Carson, just having my mind blown, like reading like Good to Great, you know, reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, reading complex sales management tools, books on tools. And, you know, it's like, I don't, you know, I have a sales background, but I don't have a sales background. So understanding like the traditional values around like the core fundamentals of like these, you know, areas of expertise, like sales, management, business, you know, all of that stuff, like figuring that out just as an interior designer has been really exciting, I think, for me. And, yeah, I think I'm always like, if you're a business owner or you want to be a leader, you have to be willing to work on yourself because, like, it's important to like manage talent on your team to make sure that like they can bring in strengths that might, you know, balance weaknesses that you have. But at the same time, like, you got to stay ahead of everyone.
Yeah, totally.
You have to be up for the challenge. You have to always be pushing to be your best self. You know, you can't slack because, you know, the company won't do well. It's just kind of like, I hate to say it like that, but that's just like a simple, you know, that is just the truth.
Agreed. I agree completely.
That's why CEOs work on vacation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah, it's got to get done.
Someone, I read a tweet the other day. They were like, I quit my 9 to 5, or like I quit my job. So I stopped working 40 hours a week so I could start working 24/7 or something. Yeah.
The grass is not always greener.
Definitely. Well, one more question. I know we're short on time here. One more question I wanted to ask just was outside of business and design, you know, everything we've been talking about, what are some of your other passions or hobbies? Like, how do you escape from the stress of Henck design?
Well, my husband builds and rides motorcycles, so sometimes I go on a ride with him. We go to something in Philadelphia called Two Wheel Tuesday, where all the biker guys get together and we hang out and drink beers in the afternoon. And I'll show you a trophy that I won that I actually took home. So I used to shoot pool on an 8-ball league.
Really?
So I used to shoot competitive like billiards pool. And I'll show you my trophy. I just brought it home like 3 days ago. It's massive. I'm going to show you.
Okay, I want to see.
Can you see this?
Holy cow. That looks like...
It says Christina Henck right here. Is that
huge?
I actually brought this home on the motorcycle last week.
That looks like you should be like the world champion of billiards with that trophy.
We were not that good. We almost went to Las Vegas for the Nationals. So this is like what we got for that one step before going to Nationals. So I can only imagine. I think that there's like a $5,000 prize and like a $10,000 prize. I mean, it's like to be the best in the country, right? So we were like 10th best in the country or something. Oh my gosh, it's huge, right? And I couldn't believe they even let me take it home.
That is so awesome. Yeah, I think anytime I've played billiards, I've had to like Google what the rules were. I like totally forget every time. So I'm very impressed. Number 10, one of the top 10 billiards people in the country. That's awesome. Don't
quote me on that. I don't even really know what our ranking was, but we were up there. I will say that. This is 2017. So this is like 5 years ago, right?
That's awesome. Do you still play? Like, do you keep up the skills?
I still shoot pool, yeah. I don't shoot on an APA league anymore, but I shoot for fun pretty frequently.
That's awesome. Well, definitely added a element to your personality that I didn't previously know about. So awesome. Love it.
I'm a shark on a pool table, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, Christina, thanks again for chatting, and I'm sure we're going to do it again soon. And yeah, just appreciate the time.
Excellent. I can't wait. Thanks, Carson.